Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to Look Back, where I go back a year, 5 years, and 10 years ago, take a look at the reviews I did then, and tell you what I think about them now. So a year ago, I talked about the seal changes. We had seal of excellence and seal of approval, and we changed those so that seal of approval was 7 or higher, and seal of excellence was 8.5 or higher. And this has really, I think, helped our show. It made the seal of approval better. There's a lot of games that I enjoy and thought were decently good, 6 and 6.5, but don't get the seal of approval. And also a game has to be truly amazing for it to get a seal of excellence. However, a seal of approval still means really good things. We're sticking with that for this year. Also a year ago, I reviewed Mishmash, which was some sort of quick match style game. Meh. Yam Yam. Okay, Mishmash and Yam Yam. All right, anyway, Yam Yam, which is a little push your luck style hedgehog game, I think. It was at best. Then I took a look at a Column of Fire with Sam and Z. This one has really cooled for me. I really like this. I like Pillars of the Earth, and it seems like each game has gotten less interesting, and a Column of Fire was the least of all of them. Also, Color Chess, which might have got a better review if the components were better. It's okay. You're moving pieces based on the color space they're on. Word Domination, which is an interesting little game as you're trying to make words and also have area control of sorts. So it's kind of a mix of those two things. It looks like it's a Tim Fowers game. It's not, but he definitely had a hand helping them with the production of it. And Virulence. Virulence, a little fast card game from Genius Games. Good game, not as good as some of their more recent science games. Their games just seem to get better each time, but this one was a fun little game that's also educational. I took a look at Noria. Now, Noria's dropped just the slightest bit for me because Noria, I'm worried that that each game doesn't have the diversity other games do. Really cool theme, really great designer. She's just recently done another game called The Bodus, which I think is great. Cool artwork and all, but the game it doesn't have as much diversity as I would like to see in this kind of Euro game. Then we have Grim Forest. Woo, what a cool production. What a neat family game as you go through and you're building houses as the 3 little pigs and also trying to avoid the big bad wolves and other things like that. Then we have Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. Super fun, big production game from Gameland Games with, it's basically Warcraft, the board game. Really liked it, especially with the expansion at it. And Catacombs and Castles. This was a versus style game where you're flicking discs at each other. Catacombs was 1 versus all. Catacombs and Castles is team versus team. They both work well. I think I like Catacombs better in the long run, but having them both is fun. 5 years ago, let's see. First of all, we have Terra Mystica. I know. Everyone loves this game, and I don't like it. I don't like how it looks. I don't like the restrictions it places you under. The Gaia Project is a better version, which I like, not just for theming purposes, but I felt like it had a little bit more straightforward theme. This just wasn't my style. Then we have Shindig Machine, which I really hate because it's black and white, the way it looks, I mean. And it's just this storytelling, black and white. Some people are going to like it because of how it looks. I'm not one of them. Phantom, which sounds really cool, being a ghost and trying to scare people, but meh. Hegemonic. Now, this is a game that's dropped for me. This was like a 4X style game, but it was so thinky. It had some really cool pieces. But it was so thinky that in the end of the day, I don't want to go back and play it anymore. So I had to drop my rating for that. If you asked me to play this, I would probably refuse. Then we have Kitchen Garden, which was a little building a garden, but there was a little bit too much take that in for me to give it a very positive review. And Evil Intent, which is like you're this big evil supervillain and stuff, but again, has too much take that elements. I wasn't very positive 5 years ago, was I? All right, let's get to some happier stuff. Race for the Galaxy Alien Artifacts. This is an expansion which has some cool new cards. That's why I got a 6. But the rest of it you can get rid of. There's this whole Alien Artifacts moving around on board. Blah, I rate that a 2. But the new cards are cool. Then we have Salmon Run, which is a deck building, moving salmon up a river game. It's okay, it's interesting, but very forgettable because I haven't seen anyone talk about this game in a long time. We have Guile, which is sort of a memory style game. Amerigo, which I wanted to like more than it was because you're dropping these cubes through a tower like Wallenstein and Shogun and stuff like that, but this is more of a Euro game, and there was just sometimes it was just very obvious what action you should take. I thought it was it was decent, but not like amazing. All right, then we have Mush Mush Snowtails 2, which is interesting because I think almost immediately after this they released Snowtails, which combined elements of the two. So Mush Mush Snowtails 2, I wouldn't go out of my way to get it at all when you can get the vastly superior, just regular Snowtails that Renegade came out with. Then we have Hawken, which is a two-player mech-style game with a little bit of speed element to it, and that was a lot cooler than I thought. Hollywood, which is a game where you're trying to make movies and get the right people for movies. A little bit of a spoof here of famous movie stars, but it was a lot more enjoyable than I thought it would be. And let's see, King and Assassins. This was a pretty nifty game. One person is playing the king, and the other person's playing some assassins, taking out the king and his guards. A very cool asymmetrical game, and I think they just made a reprint of it. Citrus. This is a tile-laying game where you're trying to put citrus farms out, and this one was also just re-released from Tasty Minstrel Game. I like that one. And then the biggest game from 5 years ago would be, well, we have Eldritch Horror. Wow, 5 years, and now Arkham Horror's out. People forget about Eldritch Horror soon, but I loved Eldritch Horror when I first played it. It's a cool adventure-style theme. I never played Arkham Horror since, although I'm going to play the new Arkham Horror soon, but I do like Eldritch Horror a lot. And then Battle Lore 2nd Edition. Fantastic new version of Battle Lore. Still really enjoy this one. Still a little kind of myth that Fantasy Flight stopped supporting it with armies, but there's still a lot of good stuff out there. 3 big armies, factions, with a lot of stuff involved. Really cool asymmetrical hidden deployment setup. Just a great game all around. Then 10 years ago, I took a look at Time After Time, which is a little game for kids about teaching them time. Pick a Paint, which is a little game from the same company about teaching kids colors. And then Suitcase Detective. This is a pretty neat little game where you're looking at shadows of things in a suitcase and trying to figure out what's there. And 10 years ago, I reviewed the new version of Cosmic Encounter from Fantasy Flight Games. I did a review for new people to the game and people for veterans. Either way, this is still the definitive version of Cosmic Encounter. Has been for 10 years. Fantastic. Just played it a couple weeks ago. Still very much in love with the game. So those are the reviews that I did 1, 5, and 10 years ago. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Look Back on the Dice Tower.